السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Continuing our lectures on Book of Prayer. Last week we revised the conditions, the pillars, the preferred sayings of prayer, the preferred actions of prayer. And we reached actions that invalidate prayer. And this week, subhanAllah, it's going to be an important session because we're going to be talking, after we have understood the conditions, the pillars, the obligations, and differentiated between what is a condition, what is a pillar, what is an obligation, ما هو الشرط, ما هو الركن, وما هو الواجب. And after differentiating the effect of this, we'll know today, because today we're going to be taking sujood al-sahw and mistakes done in prayer. How do you correct them? طيب. This is possible if you understood what this action is. So that's why we went over it. We said what is a pillar, what is an obligation, what is a preferred action, what is a preferred saying. Because based on this, today inshallah we'll understand the benefit of understanding the different actions and their rulings. So today we will start with the actions that invalidate prayer. عن زيد بن أرقم قال كنا نتكلم في الصلاة يكلم الرجل صاحبه وهو في جنبه في الصلاة حتى نزلت وقوموا لله قانتين فأمرنا بالسكوت ونهينا عن الكلام. This companion is saying, at the start, when prayer was obligated, one of us used to talk to the person next to him inside prayer itself. طيب, until the verse was revealed, وَقُومُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتِينَ. طيب, stand up and worship. قانت, preoccupied with your worship. So here, this companion understood, فَأُمِرْنَا بِالسُّكُوتِ. We were commanded to be silent in prayer. فَأُمِرْنَا بِالسُّكُوتِ وَنُهِينَا عَنِ الْكَلَامِ. So, and we were prohibited from talking in prayer. We understand from this, of course, like we will understand here, we'll come to this point, that talking in prayer invalidates the prayer. الكلام في الصلاة يبطل الصلاة. الكلام في الصلاة يبطل الصلاة. Now this is very important. There's only one way that talking in prayer is permissible and does not invalidate your prayer. Who knows? Huh?
Like there was a hadith where...
What did he say? What was the word that he said?
During battle war.
During battle? Wow. But no, in normal circumstances. In battle, many of the conditions, many of the pillars are okay. No, in normal circumstances. When is it okay to talk? You're still considered in prayer, but still permissible. Huh? Giving? Yeah, okay, yes. Fath al-Imam, correcting the Imam. So when saying Subhanallah, and they said Subhanallah is dhikr. So they said also when saying Subhanallah to the Imam, this is not considered prayer, not considered talking. But he's right in the sense that, let's say the Imam did salam, praying in a Isha prayer, he did salam after 2 units. And the followers said, yeah, Shaykh, we prayed only 2 units. And then they started arguing, they started talking. Yet they're still in prayer because the prayer still did not finish. Even though they did salam, but they only prayed 2 units. So this argument, does it invalidate the prayer? They say no, because here, this argument is for the benefit of prayer, to remind the Imam that, we still didn't finish. And this happened with the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam fi hadith Dhil Yadayn. طيب, a man had long arms, subhanAllah, in prayer. The Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did salam before the prayer ended, and he reminded the Messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we did not pray the full prayer. So the Messenger went back to his worship, they continued the prayer, and then they did sujood al-sahw. So in this case, it's still considered in prayer, and talking in this case to remind the Imam or something, it's still permissible and it does not invalidate the prayer. So in general, when we want to talk about what are the things that invalidate the prayers, of course the first thing that we talk about is the conditions. If any of the conditions of prayer was invalidated in the middle of prayer, plus the prayer is invalid. The prayer is invalid. And as an example of this, ritual purity. Ritual purity, طهارة من الحدث, we said that this is a condition of prayer. How is it invalidated in prayer? If a person let out some gas, normally, طيب, it happens. طيب, here his prayer is invalid. His prayer is invalid. So my question is, or he forgot, he remembered that he did not have tahara in prayer. This is very important also. Many people fall to this mistake. So in prayer, let's say that qaddar Allah, you let out some gas. You invalidated your worship. Do you stay so that nobody knows you stay in worship? La. Leave. Leave. You have to leave. طيب, if you say طيب, people will say it's okay. Do this. Leave, cover your face so people will assume something else and leave the worship. Even if you're cutting the lines, no problem. Just leave, okay, go back to the side and leave. No problem, no issues whatsoever. طيب, بالعكس, what you're doing is the right thing. What you're doing is the right thing. You leave and then you go and do your wudu and come back to prayer. This is one case. Another case, if he remembered that he did not have tahara. So in the middle of the prayer, he remembers, I did not do wudu. I was on the phone and then I came to the masjid. I did not do wudu, definitely. Directly you cut your prayer and you go. طيب, this is regarding ritual purity. طيب, who can give me examples in physical purity, where a person invalidates his prayer? Physical purity, without invalidating ritual purity. And it could be that there's najasa on his clothes, and he didn't remember the whole prayer, his prayer is valid. But najasa on his clothes and najasa on his clothes, and he remembered in prayer. And if he was not able to remove it, then khalas, he leaves the prayer. If it was something that's normally removed, for example, like this, in prayer, I don't know how, and you imagine that there was najasa on this, for example, shmaq, and you were in the prayer, and then you remembered. Now you have to remove it. You either throw it down and continue your prayer is valid. But if it was on your kandura, I don't know if someone does it in prayer, he removes like this. It's difficult. There's so much action, and it's خلاص, leave the prayer, go do wudu or remove it. Okay, go home, change your clothes and come back. طيب. Or for example, if you're wearing a shirt, you're not wearing anything under it, and maybe it's above or below the belly button, and you don't want to risk it. You don't remove your shirt and in prayer like this, you stand. Also, this is a problem, because you might uncover your awrah. You might uncover your awrah, because if you're not wearing anything under it, maybe your awrah, we said it's the belly button or below. So this is also something that you should be aware of. So here we said he remembered in prayer. He remembered in prayer, so he removed it. طيب. Now the awrah itself, exposing the awrah intentionally, or left it exposed after being aware of it. This is common for the sisters. Okay, you're in prayer, then your son or daughter, she pulls you and the hijab falls off. If the head is uncovered in prayer, is the prayer valid or not?
Invalid.
What did you say?
Invalid.
Invalid, yes. Why?
Because you should show your head in prayer.
For men or women? Aywa. So women covering the head, it's a condition. If the head was uncovered in prayer, then the prayer is invalid. طيب, what if, this is in general, but if we're speaking, if it happened and it was uncovered and then she directly went and covered her head, what do we say here? It's valid. It's valid. Even if it was, for argument's sake, a person was wearing trousers. This is an example. His trousers fell and the whole awrah was uncovered in prayer, but then directly, he raised his trousers and, he buckled it or whatever. Here in this case, even if the awrah mughallada, the major awrah was uncovered in prayer, but directly, he covered it back up, his prayer is valid. His prayer is valid. They said, if he acted directly and tried to cover it, it's valid. Because they mention examples in the books of fiqh, like a wind blowing and then some person's awrah, some woman's awrah will be uncovered, and then she covers it back up. They said this does not invalidate your prayer. Now, when does it invalidate? If a small amount of your awrah was uncovered, and you know, you were aware of it, and you left it, this is where your prayer is invalid. So you know that the awrah is uncovered, and you left it uncovered, while being aware of it. Here, yes, even if it's a small amount, you're aware of it, you kept it, you left it, your prayer is invalid. Yes?
Is a part of the aura? So if you went
No, we as we mentioned, what did we say regarding knees? Yeah, we said, we took the opinion that knee itself, it's not awrah. Which is, there are some opinions that said knee itself is awrah, but we chose the opinion that knee itself is not awrah. Above the knee, directly, the thighs, it's awrah. Okay? طيب. Exposing the awrah. Now another thing is turning away from prayer. So we said that facing the qibla is of the conditions of prayer. So what if a person in prayer, he changed, he looked, in some case he turned around in prayer. So the direction of qibla was not faced. The prayer, of course, is invalid. The prayer is invalid. Yeah, for example, in prayer itself, he turned around, or he turned to the left, to the right, for example, or to the left. Here, definitely, he did not face the qibla. Yeah.
If he turned to open the door because the door was near him.
See, this is the thing. Did he do this, or did he turn? See, this is the thing. If he did move in prayer, movement like this, still facing the qibla, it's an easier matter. But moving away from the qibla, this is a problem, big problem. Okay. Of the things, of course, we mentioned talking. We mentioned this is talking, of course, eating and drinking. What about smiling?
That's fine.
Huh? So we smile in prayer? لا, you're saying it does not invalidate your prayer, صح? طيب. Like this this invalidates your prayer. They said smiling, طيب, it's not part of talking, but if there was laughing, they said laughing is like talking. So laughing invalidates prayer. Laughing invalidates prayer, but talking, it does not. Yes?
but you shouldn't be smiling, right?
No, we shouldn't. You're in prayer, you should be crying, not smiling. But I said, for argument's sake, some people, they remember a joke in prayer. It happens, huh? Okay, yes. Yeah, don't tell me, wallah, he remember Jannah, he's smiling for Jannah. I don't think, yani. Yes.
So the Fuqaha mentioned if you're reading a nafila prayer, you can slightly drink a little bit. Is this allowed?
Following they said eating and drinking should not be done in prayer because the Messenger Muhammad said, "Inna fi salati la shughla." Hey, the prayer, a person is preoccupied. Messenger Muhammad ﷺ, the slightest thing distracted him in prayer, as in it affected his khushu'. When he was wearing something that had lines, and these lines distracted him. Look at how he was looking at prayer, and how prayer was such an important thing that they wanted no distraction. They wanted to maximize the reward, and that's how a Muslim should be. That's why in prayer we say, do not come to prayer with anything that distracts. For example, a smell or noise. And nowadays noise, of course, the mobile phones. And what's worse is keeping the mobile phone ringing in prayer and thinking that what you're doing is the right thing. This is haram. Why? Because you're distracting everyone in prayer. The khushu', you're decreasing the reward of everyone because of your mobile phone. Unless someone is really battling it out, trying to concentrate in his prayer, not paying attention to the ringing. If your phone was ringing in prayer, go turn it off, decline, whatever you do. You have to do something and not keep it ringing. If you say to yourself, no, but part of khushu' is not moving. No, not in this case. You're moving for the benefit of prayer. For the benefit of your prayer and the prayer of the rest of the followers. So if your phone rings, take it out, turn it off or whatever. طيب, so that you do not distract the whole jama'ah and congregation. طيب. Huh? What if? You're doing this, huh? It happens to you, huh? Step on it. The problem is that you go down like this, you're not facing, it's a problem. You go down, you're saying, what are you doing? You're in prayer. طيب. Those who put the phones, another thing, by the way, reminded me. Some phones, I don't know, it's an app or something. It's like, it has like a flash. So you put it, you see like a flash like this. So you're in prayer, you're looking down and you see this. You don't know, you close your eyes, you still see it. Well, I don't know, is this like an app or whatever it is? It's a problem, it's a big problem. طيب, don't do this, you're distracting yourself, you're distracting those who are around you. Or if you want to do this, put it in your pocket. What's the point of putting it in front of you and having it, light and distracting everyone around you? Or if you want to put it on silent or on airplane mode, then put it in front of you. خلاص. طيب. Now, any questions before we move to sujood al-sahw? طيب. Now we'll move to sujood al-sahw. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم انصرف من اثنتين. So the Messenger of Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم was doing a Maghrib, Asr, to said the Asr prayer, and he did salam after doing 2 units. فقال له ذو اليدين أقصرت الصلاة أم نسيت. So a person called ذو اليدين, they called him ذو اليدين, said to the Messenger of Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم أقصرت الصلاة. So what happened, O Messenger of Allah? Was the salah lessened? Was it decreased? It was 4 units, you prayed 2. أم نسيت, or is it that you forgot? So the Messenger of Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said أصدق ذو اليدين. In some narrations he said no, it was not decreased and I did not forget. So some narrations he said, is what he's saying right? So the companion said yes. So the Messenger of Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم stood up and then he prayed 2 units. So what happened here? He prayed only 2 units. So how many units are left? 2 more. So he went and prayed another 2 units, completing the prayer. Completing the prayer. So here there was a gap. So the Messenger did salam, and then he was talking with them. There's a gap. But this gap wasn't a long gap. And customarily it wasn't long. They said you forgot and go back to the prayer. خلاص, they're still in the masjid, they're still in the prayer. So he went and continued his prayer. He went and prayed 2 units. فقام رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فصلى 2 أخريين ثم سلم. Then he did salam and then ثم كبر فسجد مثل سجوده أو أطول ثم رفع. So then he prayed the 2 sajdas and did salam. So after finishing the prayer, طيب, he did 2 sujood of sahu and he finished the prayer. طيب. Sujood al-sahu, prostration of forgetfulness, are 2 prostrations, 2 sujood done before or after the salam. They are done before or after the salam, end of prayer, to amend mistakes in prayer due to forgetfulness. You need to correct, to fix the mistakes of prayer that were done due to forgetfulness. Forgetfulness. So any mistake done in prayer, if it wasn't out of forgetfulness, there is no sujood sahu. The prayer is invalid. Mistakes you did intentionally, so you did a wrong prayer intentionally, you cannot say I'll fix it with sujood sahu. Sujood sahu is fixing a prayer due to mistakes that occur. طيب. Now, sujood sahu, is it before salam or after salam? All 4 imams agree it is permissible to do it before salam or after salam. Permissible, both are permissible. But what they argue about is which is better. Sometimes it's better to do before, sometimes after. But if for always, as an advice, most of the cases it's before salam. Most of the cases it's better to do before salam. And even on the other madhabs, before salam it's valid for all types of mistakes. Before salam. طيب. So what are the type of mistakes or forgetfulness that happens in prayer? It's mistakes due to addition, mistakes due to omission, decreasing, and you forgetting something, or doubt, having doubt. Your prayer is, the number is right, but you're having doubt. Did I add or did I decrease? Did I pray 3 or 4? Even though he prayed 4. So we start with the addition. The addition of an action of the actions of prayer, absent-mindedly. For example, a person added 1 unit, such as adding a unit of prayer or a pillar. So you might add 1 whole unit, or you might add 1 rukun. Give me an example of adding a rukun in prayer. Yes, obvious one, 3 sujood. 3 sujood. Say, you either do 1 or say, wallah, I don't know, I did 1 or 2. You end up did it 2. Just in case, you do now you do 3. You're not aware of it طبعا. طيب. So you did sujood. So now you're sure either 2 or 3. Adding a unit or adding a pillar, as an example, sujood, or standing up, or sitting down. For example, sitting down. You prayed 1 unit, then you sat down. And then you remembered that, no, I prayed only 1 unit. So you stood up. And then you continued your prayer. Then you sat down because it's 2 units now. So here, did you add an action? Yes, you sat down after the first unit. So you added the julus. So here, at the end of prayer, you have to do sujood al-sahw. You have to do sujood al-sahw because you added an action of prayer absent-mindedly. You didn't do it intentionally. Did you understand this point? And you didn't do it intentionally. If it happens that you decided after the first unit to sit for tashahhud and then to add something, this invalidates your prayer directly. Adding something in prayer, you intend to do it, this invalidates your prayer. We're not talking about jalsat, that this, when some madhabs or some scholars say that before standing up for the second unit, they act on what the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ did, is sitting down and then standing up. So after sujood they sit down. No, we're not talking about this, because they're doing this out of a sunnah. They're not adding an action of the actions of prayer.
Forgetfulness happens mostly with the elderly.
Everyone, Sheikh, elderly, everyone.
Especially for me, sometimes I pray 3 rakats. I forget that I have session after 4 rakats. But I continue and I do sujood.
Yes, that's okay. Did you get his question? We answered it last week. Who knows? He said sometimes he forgets sitting after the second unit, yes? So after finishing prayer, he does sujood sahw. We mentioned this. First of all, what did he forget? He forgot what? Sure. ترك واجبا. He forgot a wajib. And forgetting a wajib, if he did it in a state of forgetfulness, absent-mindedly, he can make it up with sujood al-sahw. So what you did was right. طيب. And this is what happened with the other narration, what happened with the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ. So here we said adding additional unit. طيب, what if he stood up for the 5th rak'ah? He stood up for the 5th rak'ah. And then in the prayer, for example, his wife was like, you stood up for a 5th rak'ah. So she corrected him in prayer. So here, what should he do? He continues the 5th. Aywa, directly you sit down. Directly you sit down. Directly you sit down and you do sujood al-sahw. And you do sujood al-sahw. Yeah.
You started with the Fatiha, then you continue.
In the 5th rak'ah? La. Even if you started, directly you sit down. Yeah. Because this is all addition. Yes, what is recited in sujood al-sahw is exactly what you do in the normal sujood. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. That's why the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ, his sujood was equal to the normal sujood or even longer. That's the hadith said.
And what was the duration that we can know? I forgot the
This now we'll talk about it now in detail.
During whether it happens after the first rak'ah, as I told, and I forget to recite qunut. I don't go directly to sujood.
In which rak'ah? You mean
Witr.
in witr? Okay, yes. Then you went back for qunut? You don't go back for qunut.
Forget qunut and I go directly to sujood.
Okay,
And
no problem.
I remember.
You go back?
I remember that I have forgotten.
Okay, no problem. Just continue your prayer. Don't go back.
Yeah. I just make sujood.
Yes, that's خلاص تسجيل النور اصلا يعني doing قنوت you're following a certain madhab.
Sometimes what I do,
You're following a certain madhab. Yeah, dua as in the qunut. Yes, do it in tashahhud. This all madhabs will say okay, but doing qunut every time in witr, this is debatable. Is this a sunnah to do it all the times? This is they debated. Yes, so better not always do it. If you forgot, good. Do your dua always in sujood or in tahiyyat. What the question? Someone. So let's just finish this part here. So if a person added one of the actions of prayer we said that if he did it intentionally, it invalidates his prayer. طيب, adding a normal action, non-prayer specific, طيب, to prayer has nothing to do with sujood sahwi. يعني والله in prayer he did this more than once, for example. We say, يا أخي, do sujood sahwi. No, this is not of the actions of prayer. He did this wallah more than once. He itched his ear or something. This is not hadas. You don't do sujood sahwi for this.
If someone, for example, in sujood said Subhana Rabbiyal A'la 4 times or just 2 times.
That's sunnah.
No, it's not a sunnah like it. He just said it 2 times or 4 times.
ما sunnah. So you were absent. We said you were absent. Sunnah, we said Subhana Rabbiyal A'la once is wajib. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's preferred. No problem.
I thought only 3 and...
لا لا لا. طيب, now the easier part here, we were talking about adding an action. طيب, if a person added an action in prayer and he remembered and he corrected himself. Now, we said it's here he has to do sujood sahw. طيب, what if he forgot to do sujood sahw and then he left the masjid or he left the room and then he remembered? If it was a short period, he does sujood sahw. He goes back and does sujood. If it was a long period, خلاص, there's no need to do sujood sahw and his prayer is valid. His prayer is valid.
If he moves up and go out, he will come back?
No, they said leaving the masjid, this is a long period. But let's say he stood up and then he remembered, if he sat and do sujood sahw, no problem. But if he made a mistake in sujood sahw, does he do sujood sahw for the sujood sahw? If he made a mistake in sujood sahw, he does not need to do sujood sahw again. Yani in sujood sahw, he did 3 sajdas, for example. No, forgetting sujood sahw, okay, normal, but doing a mistake also in sujood sahw? It's one of my friends, also me, it happened to me. I made fun of him, then it happened to me. We're traveling, he was very exhausted. And then we did sujood sahw, he did 1 sajda. I said, Ya akhi, wallah, I don't know how many sajdas I did. He was really tired. So it happened that I made fun of him, and then I made the same mistake. So if a person made a mistake, sujood sahw, he doesn't go and do sujood sahw for sujood sahw. Is this clear? Khalas. طيب, now this is if a person added an action. This is simple. Now we talk about the problem. What if you forget and then you remembered in prayer or you remembered outside prayer? This is where all the issues occur. So we'll try to cover this, inshallah. So forgetting a pillar. We said pillars are different than obligations, are different than preferred actions. If a person forgot a pillar and remembered before the recitation of the next unit, then going back to it is a must. طيب, what does this mean? This is the Hanbali madhab. That in the worship, in the unit, you forgot, let's say you forgot 1 sajda. 1 sajda. When did you remember? You remembered after standing up before reciting. If it's before reciting and before starting the Fatiha, you can go back. If it was after reciting Fatiha, you continue. You don't go back. Even if you forgot, you don't go back. طيب, if you don't go back, what happens? This whole unit is invalid. And this unit takes its place. This unit takes its place. Let's say you remember that you didn't do ruku'. You did not do ruku'. You recited Fatiha and then you did sujood. When did you remember? If you remembered in sujood that you did not do ruku', here you can go back. As long as you remember an action before standing up and reciting Al-Fatiha, you can still go back. So you remembered that you left ruku' while in sujood. You go back, you stand up, and then you do your ruku', and then you continue your prayer. But if you remembered after starting the next unit, after starting recitation the next unit, you cannot go back to the first unit. If you forgot a rukn, which is a sujood, a ruku', rising up, sitting between the 2 sajdas, if you forgot any of these things, then the first unit is abolished, it's invalidated, and this unit takes its place.
The full, like for example, if I prayed already 2 rak'ahs, so the third one is invalid and I pray.
But give me the example. What did you forget?
Like for example, I'm praying the Asr, and
Okay.
First 2 rak'ahs were fine. Then the third one, I forgot to read Surah Al-Fatiha.
When did you remember?
I remembered after sujood and...
After sujood? You can still go back, but you have to do the whole thing. You still go back. Go back to it, recite. Even though the matter of Surah Al-Fatiha, the madhab says yes, it's a rukn, but still يعني debatable. Anyways, you can still go back. Okay? But let's say, this is the example. You can still go back unless you stood up and you started reciting. Here you cannot go back. Here you cannot go back. So if a person forgot, yes.
So if you go back, you have to do ruku again?
Yes, because you forgot ruku. Or which example?
Was it like if you forgot something?
Okay.
So you have to do ruku again?
When did you remember it? Okay, you go back, you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, and then you complete your prayer normally. So you do ruku', you do everything. Okay? So if a person forgot a pillar like sujood and did not remember except after the start of the recitation of Fatiha, then he does not go back to the previous unit. And the previous unit is invalidated. And the latter takes its place. So the unit after takes the place of the first unit, or the one after. And sujood al-sahu should be done before salam. طيب, this is يعني clear. طيب, this is clear. طيب, what if he remembered after salam? So here after salam directly, this whole unit is invalidated. So let's say you did one sajda. In this unit, you're doing one sajda only. You did one sajda and then you sat for tashahud. And after you did salam, someone next to you said, Sheikh, you only did one sajda, I saw you. Did you sure? You say, yes, I was looking at the prayer, you only did one sajda. So here, what does he do? After salam directly, if you remember a mistake in the previous unit, this whole unit is invalidated, you go and repeat the whole unit. And then you sit for tashahud and do sujood sahu and salam. Okay? So, if remembered after the end of prayer, after salam, if remembered shortly after salam, and the purification is still intact. So still, you did not invalidate your purification, because if you stood up, and قدر الله, you let out some gas, and then your friend told you didn't do one sujood, خلاص, here you have to do the whole prayer again. You have to do the whole prayer again. There's a question, subhanAllah. One of the sheikhs was asked a question, and the sheikh started laughing. This woman said, I prayed my prayer and I had to do sujood al-sahu. But after I did salam, I broke my wudu. I didn't do sujood al-sahu. The sheikh started laughing and he was not able to. And then he started laughing. So, subhanallah, you did not break your wudu except after finishing salam, but then you broke your wudu before sujood al-sahu. She said, yes, sheikh. He said, anyways, your prayer is valid. Your prayer is valid. Since it did not occur in the prayer is valid. Sujood al-sahu, if it's a complete prayer, sujood al-sahu now here is mustahab for you. Khalas. There's nothing on you. Because doing wudu again, it's a long pause, so she doesn't need to do sujood al-sahu. So here, purification should be intact. Not only purification. So anything that invalidates the prayer. So let's say purification is still intact. Wudu is not invalidated. Then the lacking unit, the one missing a pillar, this is invalidated. So we said, after salam, if someone reminded you that you missed a unit or you missed, khalas, then you have to do a whole unit automatically. You don't say, I'll go back to this action. After salam, this unit is invalidated. Okay? طيب. Yes.
What if this happened and the guys in Jama'ah? For example, the guys in sujood, he slept up, the imam is up, he's going to get the rak'ah. And the guy remembers, does he do the sujood and then get up?
كيف؟
Let's say he's playing
So this person is in Jama'ah, okay? Okay.
He's in sujood with the sheikh.
Okay.
The sheikh got up.
Okay.
He fell asleep in sujood.
Now this is another problem now. Fell asleep. Apparently كيف؟ fell asleep in Jama'ah. طيب, okay. But sleep, I can't imagine heavy sleep, صح? Not heavy, he dozed off. Okay, let's say. Because otherwise his whole prayer is invalid. But I don't think heavy sleep can happen like this. MashaAllah, barakallah. I wish I can get heavy sleep this short period. Wallah, we struggle hours on the bed. I won't sleep. We cannot get any sleep. But this person, he sleeps in sujood. And also in Jama'ah with all, he can sleep heavy sleep. Maybe he dozed off. Okay? And he's still in sujood. He realized, okay, he was late. And the imam doing ruku' then. No problem. Here he can just go forward and finish his prayer, his sujood, and then catch up with the imam. If he did it unintentionally, it's okay. He just continues and he follows the imam. No problem. No problem.
الشيخ كله بيقول فول صلاة again.
Who?
الشيخ كله بيقول فول صلاة again. ما يصير.
But he didn't do it intentionally. Yani. He caught up. If he caught up with the imam, no problem. Maybe he said, do this so that you don't fall asleep again. If he caught up with the... So let's say if a person, let's say, I'll give you an example. He did not hear the takbir of the imam. طيب. And subhanallah, he thought the imam, then one whole rukun, the imam passed him with one whole rukun. He can just follow and finish and follow the imam. He doesn't need to do the whole prayer again, okay? Anyways,
There is a case,
I will answer your question. Just let me finish this. If remembered after salam, but he remembered after a long pause, طيب, like after exiting the masjid, or the wudu was invalidated, then he should repeat the whole prayer. So he remembered that he forgot one sujood after, I don't know how this is possible. خلاص, a person he finishes prayer, he doesn't think. If for argument's sake, a person was following him until he left the masjid, he was going for wudu, said, you left one unit. If it happened like this I can imagine, then he has to repeat the whole prayer. The whole prayer. طيب. Or the wudu was invalidated. So this person said, Sheikh, he went to him and his wudu was invalidated, and he told him, you left one sujood. Here he cannot go, he has to go do wudu and then repeat the whole prayer. Okay? Yes.
It's not very rarely some people, they are having some sleep apnea.
Yeah, sleep apnea, okay, this is something else.
Sleep apnea, in this sleep apnea, the person doesn't know he is going to sleep. He is going to sleep and he is snoring.
Yes.
In the long rakats, especially in Fajr, so this condition happens, and if the person is sitting on the chair and he is praying, he snores and he goes into some sleep. This is a case. This has happened.
But this case, when did they wake him up? After prayer?
No. He wakes up with the sound, with the...
So he woke up directly after?
Yes.
So how long did he sleep?
No, this has happened only once.
So how long did he sleep for? طيب?
Especially during Tarawih. Because the long...
So when did he wake up? Al ruku', for example?
Yeah.
And then he followed the imam?
Yes.
طيب, inshallah, خلاص. What do we say? خلاص. Anyways, this prayer, خلاص تراويح وهذا. And this person happened to him all the time?
This is a case nobody can control it.
Yeah, I know, I understand. That's why I'm saying خلاص, no problem. He has no control over this matter. This is something else. But if a person intentionally stays for sujood, for example, intentionally tries not to follow them, or going before the imam, this is a problem, intentionally. طيب. Okay, let's finish the final thing, which is for forgetting an obligation. If a person, we talked about forgetting a pillar. All of this, inshallah, because next week we won't have a session. So the week after, inshallah, when we have our next session, we'll go over all this again. So let's take this, forgetting an obligation. You differentiate between an obligation and pillar. We talked about this. طيب. So if an obligation was forgotten, it will be amended by the prostration or forgetfulness. So if remembered during prayer, one should not leave a pillar to go back to an obligation. In your case, you forgot jalsa between the two sajdas, yes? Tashahud. This is considered an obligation, صح? Not a pillar. So you remembered, when did you remember it? In third rak'ah? In third rak'ah. So you started a pillar. You don't go back to it. You continue your prayer and you do sujood saw, and that's it. This is the thing. So you forgot an obligation. It is amended by sujood saw. An example, this is the example. Forgetting the first tashahud in a 3 or 4 unit prayer. So if a person remembered the first tashahud after standing up, if remembered before standing up straight, then he goes back to it, no problem. For tashahud, so no problem. So before standing up, he remembered. He can go back directly because he still didn't stand up straight. He finishes the tashahud, he sits for tashahhud, does tashahhud and continues his prayer, and no sujood sahwa is required. But if he stood up straight and is reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, he does not go back, he continues his prayer. طيب. So but if remembered after standing up, then he should continue his prayer and perform sujood al-sahu after salam. After salam. And we said if a person forgot sujood al-sahu itself, if remembered soon after the prayer, then it should be made. But if it was remembered after a long gap, then he is pardoned. طيب. With this, inshallah, we will end. Next week, there is no session. So we'll see the week after, because I'll be traveling. We'll see the week after, inshallah. This we will end. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خير.